Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joaquin over here from Singular. It's a pleasure to be here to start hosting this amazing webinar. I'm gonna give you guys 2 to 3 minutes to start entering the session. Let you join us. Just grab your coffee, go and sit down on your sofa, your table, your desk, because we are gonna have a really cool and amazing conversation with one of the best person I ever known in the last year. So be ready, and we are gonna starting this amazing webinar in 2 minutes. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. We are going to start in 1 minute. We're going to have a really cool conversation from the strategic and tactical side with Cristina. Please welcome, 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 everybody. Okay, it's time. It's time to move forward. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce our theme speaker today. Cristina is gonna join us for this amazing conversation on how Ediphi raised 1.5 million. And this is extremely important because this is a huge, amazing case study in product innovation and validation. Because if you are planning to raise some money nowadays, you are going to be really define a strategy to get some market traction, to get some market validation. Maybe 2 years to 3 years ago, with only the PowerPoint presentation, you were able to get money from investors. Right now, it's not enough anymore. Right now, you really need market traction. And we are going to talk to Cristina and with Cristina about these topics and more topics about product innovation, market validation, and fundraising strategy. So give me, put Cristina on stage, and this is a clap for you, Cristina. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
It's a really pleasure for me, Cristina, to have you here, and it's a really, it was a desire for me to share this conversation with you before. So I'm really excited to be here. If you allow me, we are going to start this conversation showing the audience a little video, a quick video about Singular, and then we are going to start our conversation. I prepared so many questions, and so be prepared, grab your coffee yourself as well, because we are going to enjoy this amazing afternoon with the entire audience in the other side, okay? People, share a quick Singular video to understand how we work and who we are. Let's go.
You might be thinking, here we go again, another promo video with the same old upbeat music. Well, you're not wrong, but hear me out. This one might just change your life, or at least your business. Here's the deal. You reach out, and we line up a dedicated multidisciplinary product team to turn your idea into a market-ready product that could raise millions in record time. It's that simple. Singular assigns a team on demand. all yours, supported by Singular Stories, our own cutting-edge project management platform. Why Singular? Well, because there are no words in the dictionary to describe how agile and transparent we are. Our team, your team, uses AI to drive innovation, putting you ahead of the game. With our expertise in visual development tools, you'll get omni-channel scalable products built for constant evolution. Pretty cool, huh? An on-demand product team, dedicated to achieve your business goals through efficiency, agility, and cutting-edge technology powered by visual development and AI. No matter what your vision is, from an app to revolutionize the crypto's ecosystem, to a digital platform to streamline customer service. Join our over 200 clients worldwide who are building their products, raising capital, and shaping industries, all thanks to Singular. So, what are you waiting for? Let us build your next idea to make a real-world impact and transform realities. Singular, subscription-based product teams to innovate faster with AI-powered apps.
Wow, perfect. Right now, I'm ready to tackle this amazing conversation. Cristina, it's really a pleasure to be here with you. And I'm going to start asking, from my perspective, the most important question. How your journey started in the past? How was your decided to be an entrepreneur, identify a real world problem inside the market or for any community? How was your story look like?
Well, first, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much to Joaquin and Singular for having me here. So again, I'm Cristina. I'm the founder and CEO of Ediphi, and truly, I guess the story of Ediphi starts back in the Philippines in 2018 when my husband and I opened 3 restaurants. We're both hospitality people, and very soon after we opened, we began receiving requests from local students who wanted to intern with us. And so these students were really looking for guidance on how to go to international internships, and they thought that we may be able to help them. And that prompted us to launch a small consultancy to guide them on that journey. So obviously our market really led us to starting on that journey. But as we all know, everything changed in 2020 when the world went virtual. And schools in the Philippines shifted to online for over a year. So our university partners needed a way to give students on-the-job training hours, even though there were no physical internships available and students were not allowed to travel. And at that point, all we had really were ebooks and webinars to orient students regarding international internships. But by May 2020, we started to look for online training possibilities. And that's when we started with our very first cohort of 7 students meeting via Zoom and Google Classroom. And word spread pretty quickly. And by the end of that year, we were serving 450 students. And by 2022, our reach was at about 6,000 students who needed this flexible but high quality hospitality training to really fulfill their graduation requirements and get the experience they needed to do well in the industry. And so watching that growth and us having a hard time keeping up, obviously Zoom was not built for that, right? I realized that although this online approach was effective, it really just wasn't enough. And we needed a more immersive solution that could handle language differences, replicate the practical, hands-on environment of an actual hotel or restaurant. And this was about the time that I started seeing my kids play with VR games at home. And that sparked this idea of, if VR can simulate entire worlds for gaming, why not hospitality training? So as a multilingual tool, it could help students overcome language barriers, and the immersive experiences would let them practice real life scenarios. So we got to work on a VR demo. That was our very first MVP. And it was really nerve-wracking to showcase something so unpolished, the famous sharing your ugly baby to gather just feedback. And the response really surprised us. That was in January 2023 when we launched that. And our early partners and students found it super exciting and asked when more features would be available. That's when we knew that we had something. And for those early demos, we just kept refining the VR experience, ensuring that it was intuitive, hands-on, and capable of scaling. But really, it was never enough because it just lived on the headset and it was hard to gather data. And that's when we met Singular. And that's actually when we were also fundraising. And that's where all of this got unlocked, because then with Singular, we were able to evolve into this full-fledged platform with subscription models, with AI-driven features. And now we were able to sell to universities who are dedicating entire rooms to Ediphi's VR labs, and students can track their progress in real time. It's really the success of that vision that fueled our growth and culminated in the raise, right? But really, it was that ability to work with Singular and creating this platform to better tell the story of what we were building in order for us to get both clients and investors.
Wow, Cristina, that was an amazing interaction. Thank you for your words. I know, and to let the audience know, we had the huge privilege of working alongside with Cristina and her team to refine and accelerate this vision, because we are passionate about that. We have passion trying to enhance and boosting the founders' vision to make a real world impact with their solutions, their ideas. And take a look at the Cristina example. She went from the idea to raise 1.5 million to keep growing. And she's gonna tell us about that in a bit. So Cristina, I divided the questions in three categories. The first one is going to be related to product validation and the market validation process. The second one is going to be related to the fundraising strategy. So we really want to know your secrets to have and let the people know a couple of ideas to start refining their funding strategy. And the third one is going to be a couple of advices you can share with the audience and with the founders are watching on and they are with us on this session to provide them quick insights and quick inputs to start working and improving their strategies from the beginning. Okay, so we are going to start with the first category, product development and validation. And the first question I have for you, Cristina, is this one. What role did design thinking workshops and the OKR definition play in setting the foundation for Ediphi's product? Meaning OKR, it's a strategic question regarding how you started to think on this from the general perspective, going to the tactical perspective.
Sure. Design thinking really forced us to see the world through our clients' eyes and mapping out those pain points, like time constraints, language barriers, the need for hands-on learning. That really informed what we were going to build and how we should build it. And of course, coupled with clear OKRs, really ensured that every prototype and each update that we created was tied to these specific metrics, right? Like improving engagement rates or reducing onboarding time. It really kept us from going off track and gave us guardrails so that we can stay on time and on budget and not really start chasing different ideas as they came into our minds. So I thought that that was really great exercise.
Sorry, I'm here. I'm just up here again. you're trying to leverage, the exponential technologies such as AI and VR in a market validation process. I think the part of the design thinking workshop to define your OKRs, your business goals, your operational goals, your strategic goals were and are extremely important. And be iterative in this process are the most important part. Let's go to the next one. Can you share with the audience and with us a milestone or a turning point during the Ediphi's journey that validated the product's potential in the market? And this is a really important question, Cristina, because that day you really understood that your product, your solution, have a really potential impact inside a real world situation. So please tell us a little bit about that.
This is interesting for us because we have actually a few different milestones. So I'll share them with you. Very early on, when that very first switch happened, because we were forced to go virtual and do on-the-job training, growing in 1 year from 7 students to 450 within the same year to 6,000 in 2 years, with products that we just kind of put together and pasted them together, that showed us that there was something there, right? And that scale showed us that we should really address that and figure out how we can best support the people who were coming to us. The next milestone was when we built that first VR prototype. It was really a game changer because we had never been in that space and we really didn't know what to expect. It was quite funny now that I look back on it. But as we were going through, it was really rough, right? And it's hard to show your ugly baby to people and ask for feedback. It's scary, it's daunting, but ultimately the stakeholders saw just how immersive training could address language barriers and skill gaps, and them ordering more and asking when the next modules were going to come out showed us that we were really onto something. So that was really great. But then that last turning point of where we really unlocked a key side of things is when we started working with Singular and we launched our platform. Because at that point, we were no longer just sort of a side training tool. We're now a full LMS platform that allows students and universities to see the data analytics and the impact of what we're doing. And so once we started to show that really unlocked a lot more doors and possibilities and opportunities. So, I guess a few different milestones there.
No, that sounds amazing. And what I love from Ediphi is like you are, introducing technology and digital transformation into a traditional industry. So the educational and hospitality industry, they are so old industries, with a little, friction to understanding how to start a digital transformation process. I can tell you about this because I was a former teacher. So it's really incredible how the universities, high schools, even hotels are, starting a digital transformation wave. And I think you are providing a really cool and easy solution to, through a really cool user experience, make that transformation happen. So congratulations. Let's go to the next one. And this is, a quite general question, but it's really important at the same time. How can startups or even companies, let's talk about companies, balance product iterations and validation without delaying their go-to-market timelines? And this is a quite important question because innovation is happening every day. Maybe a new technology tomorrow is gonna, cut off the technology from yesterday. So it's really important to understand how you handle this balance in order to provide a really good example for the people. Go ahead, please.
Sure. For us, it's always been releasing functional MVPs before they're fully polished. and that allowing that product to gather immediate feedback, which allows us in turn to pivot really quickly and keep that momentum going and really high and get that sort of loop going of the feedback, so that we're always developing towards client needs and feedback. So that was definitely something that kept us going quickly, and again, constantly focused in the right direction, and not overdeveloping. Joaquin, I think you might be muted.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah, I was saying that so many founders out there are dealing with this right now. So how we can wait to keep doing iterations, under an agile approach, and how many, times we should try new features, going to market, start the validation process, identifying traction KPIs, and delaying our go-to-market timeline. So I think your answer was perfect to give a quick advice to founders and business owners to start implementing this. So let's move on to the next category. And this is going to be, we are going to be talking around your fundraising strategy. And I think this is really cool because, as I mentioned before, today you need traction, you need validation if you want to, if you'd like to get money. So this is our first question for you, Cristina. Can you share key takeaways from structuring your fundraising strategy and the lessons you learned from raising 1.5 million? Excuse me, I'm going to repeat this. 1.5 million. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I've learned many, many lessons, some of which is directly tied to how you run your fundraising process, and some of it also around the story that you create, and then of course the actual business, right? In terms of the fundraising strategy and the fundraising process, it's important to be really informed, right? Knowing at what stage company you are, what metrics investors are looking at for that type of stage company and in the vertical that you're in. And is your ask within that range? That's one. Two, finding investors that are within the thesis of that vertical. And three, making sure that you're reaching investors who are in the right cycle in their fund, so that they are writing checks. And of course, last but not least, getting warm introductions. Those are really, really valuable in opening doors and not ending up in spam folders. But after all of that tactical stuff, there's really other things, right? For us, it meant aligning our story around this large underserved market. Like you said, hospitality and education, that's not something that a lot of people really tackle. So investors needed to be able to see the potential in what we were saying. Imagine I was saying, I'm going to use VR to train people in hospitality. That doesn't always come across as actually meaningful, right? Or that it's going to work. So we had to work to show them, well, but look at what we've already done and look at the excitement around it. So what we did was we backed our pitch with real adoption data, the growth from 7 to 6,000, and then moving forward, the adoption of the VR. And then our ask was always tied directly to our roadmap milestones, right? Let's say expanding our VR library, building AI-driven features, onboarding more universities onto the platform. What would each dollar do, and how far would it take us in our next milestone? That's really how we made sure that people understood what we were going to do with their investment.
I think The thing you are mentioning, I think it's pretty important, Cristina, because it's all about make a plan, make a strategy with different milestones and mid-term goals towards to go through that process and achieve our best and desired objective. And I think it's all about the plan. It's all about the strategy and defining KPIs during the process, and just be seated, start working so hard on this because this is a really hard job to deal with investors, refining your pitch, prepare your sessions, start negotiating the terms. So many things, during the process, and I think it's gonna be really cool to let the people know how was your journey. This is the next one. We were talking about KPIs, we were talking about dashboards, we were talking about defining milestones. What exact metrics or data points resonate most with investors during these funding discussions? So what was or what are the most important KPIs for metrics the founders and the funding teams should be aware to introduce them for the investors?
Okay, so metrics. Obviously, the biggest ones, right? The big giants are always going to be revenue and users. How much revenue have you gotten? What's your ARR? What's your MRR? What's your trailing 12 months? And how many users do you have? That, at the very end of the day, truly shows that people are willing to use your product and pay for it. But on top of that, for us, other metrics that dove deeper meant engagement metrics, time spent using the product, recurring usage, and direct testimonials. We also showed how VR could reduce traditional training costs and demonstrating both user enthusiasm and cost effectiveness. That was really powerful for us as well. And that helped us really drive home the point about the stickiness of our product.
The stickiness of our product, I think that's one of the most important KPIs, because you can deal with user acquisition, but from talking from the growth perspective, from the product-led growth perspective, the user retention, it's critical. It's really critical. So you need to understand how to onboard the users, how to provide direct value, how to generate the wow moment and the aha moment inside the users to grab their mindsets, grab their minds, and start retaining the users for long-term clients. So that's perfect, and thank you for those important metrics you just shared, Cristina. Before going to the last category, I'm gonna make another question that just came out to my mind hearing you right now, and it's about the innovation curve. So you are proposing, a really or a little bit disruptive value proposition. As we mentioned before, you're trying to introduce VR and AI into a traditional industry. So how did you identify, and how do you identify nowadays, how is the people are relating with this innovation inside those organizations? You identify openness to receive this. Obviously, it was like that because you just raised money to keep growing. But what was your experience, relating with your relationship with their decision makers from the other side, from the users from the other side? How would these people, this audience, your ICP, are connecting with your disruptive and innovative value proposition?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, actually. For us, it ended up being always go where the data leads us, right? Our transition from consulting to VR is definitely not the usual, but it also wasn't random, right? As random as it was, it really wasn't. It was basically because of the response to the student growth that we had and the demand that we saw for what we were doing. It was just how were we going to do it in a larger scale. So for us, constantly allowing the customer to lead us to the next step and using data to really measure the metrics that mattered. And then, of course, for investor expectations and aligning that, it's always remembering that the fundraising journey is a marathon, right? Especially nowadays, it's no longer a sprint for most, at least. Certainly for me, it wasn't a sprint. And so it really meant staying connected with them, sending out updates, and showing month-over-month growth or user satisfaction, right? That really tells a compelling story when you are doing exactly what you said you would do last month. Then you start getting in investors' minds that you do what you say you're going to do, right? Or at least reach it. So for me, that's always been sort of where we've tried to balance it, where of course we're responding to what the market wants, and then balancing that with how can we make sure we're also aligning it with what investors expect and the metrics that they care about.
Sounds pretty reasonable. Thank you, Cristina. So let's move on to our last category, and we are gonna start, having a conversation about advising for founders and leaders dealing right now with the same situation. We have so many people here looking for investors, trying to create a plan and a structure, a strategy to get some money from the first round or keep raising money in second, third, or even whatever stage these companies are. They are always should be creating a plan to get in more investment. So this is the first question regarding this category. What advice would you give founders or business owners or funding teams about aligning their product with market and investor expectations? This is a really, from my perspective, critical question. It's like aligning product with investor expectations about your solution or the solution you are trying to sell them to put money inside your pocket. So please go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's really it, right? Building towards tangible results, things that you can measure, so that then you can show your growth and that you're building towards something, and showing how sticky your product is. It all goes back to that, right? How has your revenue increased? Sometimes it takes longer for a startup to get revenue. So then let's find a different metric. What is a good metric? Maybe it's how many pilots have I found? How many users do we have? Or maybe it's time in the app using the product. Any of those things, just showing how that has grown, right? And adoption. And showing that month over month during the conversations when you're constantly keeping in touch with different investors, that really starts to create the groundswell for people wanting to get in on the round. And for us, it was funny because we had it took us about January to June. And in the beginning, we had a small amount of money invested, just kind of trickled in. By small, I mean like 1 or 2% of what we finally raised. And then months without anything, then another little bit, and then a couple months again without anything. Then finally, a really large angel group came to us. And that's when everyone else who had been in our investor update list started to come in. So really, it was being able to show that we were doing what we said we were going to do and being ready to take on all that investment once the groundswell happened.
Awesome. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan, defining milestones. So congratulations, Cristina. It's pretty cool watching you and hear your story. It's really inspiring. Absolutely, for sure. I think this is my last question before to go to the audience Q&A. So please, if you are watching us right now, if you have any questions for Cristina, please just drop your questions on LinkedIn inside the comment section, and we are gonna be with your questions in a bit. So Cristina, could you tell us a little bit about what role did Singular's agile approach play in accelerating your success, the Ediphi's success?
Absolutely. I think, it all goes back to how the sprints are structured, right? And that the approach around the sprints and making sure that each and every story point in each sprint was defined. This really kept us from getting bogged down on overdevelopment. We'd be able to prototype, then go straight into testing with our clients, gather that feedback, and then reiterate again. So that kept us really going. And that agility is really crucial in being able to pivot, right? Because obviously not everything works at the very first time. Actually, it's quite rare. So being able to pivot quickly and react to what's happening once you deploy your ugly baby is really important. And Singular's approach to it through the sprints allows you to be really agile.
Thank you, Cristina. Yes, because we love agile. We really need, and we truly believe that agile is the only way to move forward and keep growing your business. There's no other way. Being agile, making quick iterations, going to market, start the validation process, and it's a really virtuous cycle. So perfect, Cristina. Let's go with our audience, our dear audience that are watching us. I have a quick question from Charlie here. And what do you look for in your team members? Because we were talking about the innovation stuff, and I think you need to craft a crew who actually believes in your vision at the same time. So I think it's a really important and strategic question. What do you look for in your team?
Oh gosh, if anything, if I've learned anything from building Ediphi, it's really that the right people make all the difference, right? And so our success has really come down to having the right team. And for us, the right team is adaptable, mission-driven, willing to take on big challenges, not afraid of the big, hairy goals, and of course, collaborative and imaginative too, right? Because of what we're building, we need people who are very collaborative and willing to share what it is that they want to do, but also are not afraid to think of the crazy ideas. So we really, really welcome that in our organization. What we say is we have a bias towards action, resilience and adaptability, an ownership mentality, and at the end of the day, because we are in hospitality, deep empathy for the people that we serve.
Sounds really good, Cristina. Yeah, absolutely right. So we have here from Gladys, and Gladys are trying to steal a couple of secrets from you. So
Sure.
if you could share with the audience just one secret you can share with our amazing attendees around your fundraising strategy, your growth strategy. If you need to summarize all of your secrets in just one sentence. It's little challenging for you, I really know. That what is the best secret or advice you can share with us?
Okay. I think the best secret I have to fundraising is that it is not a secret, that raising capital is one of the hardest parts of building a company. And it's a skill that gets developed just like anything else. So it's really not about just having this great idea. It's about, just like building a company, the execution, the relationships, and the storytelling. So with that being said, I think the biggest secret is start before you really need the money, so that you have time to execute and to build those relationships and to craft that story, to make sure that you are successful in the fundraising journey.
Sounds good, Cristina. I really thank you for your openness to share with us your journey, your story. I think it's extremely inspiring, and I think so many people here are taking notes, and we're taking notes to start refining and boosting their own strategy, their own plans. So I really appreciate your time and your willingness to be here with us today. Before to wrap up, I'm gonna thrill to share an exclusive opportunity with all of you. If you're a founder, if you're a business owner, if you are, don't know how to start leveraging AI into your business, as we did with Cristina, and this is the last question, Cristina, I'm gonna do in a bit. I really want to share this. This is a really huge opportunity to take your ideas to the next level. We are, proposing a grant to you for a 2-week engagement with a dedicated AI powered product team, focusing with you on a hands-on session on a rapidly bringing your vision to life in this amazing 2 weeks engagement. If you scan the QR code, you are going to be accessing to a quick form to leave your information. And after sending the information, you are going to be participating in this contest in order to access to this 2-week engagement. We are going to be, deep in dive with you inside your AI strategy. If you are trying to leverage it for existing features, or if you are not having AI yet, we're going to dive into your AI strategy, start boosting your business and keep growing. We are going to start making rapid prototypes, go to market. We are going to define actionable outcomes inside your AI strategy. And we are going to define with you in an agile approach, in a co-innovation ecosystem, an AI strategy blueprint. All of these I'm talking about, it's the work we have been doing with Cristina during the last year, and we keep doing that. So I think it's a really good opportunity to go and scan this QR and start participating in this bonus track Singular Founders Grant. We have a couple of available spots for February, so not stay so quiet. Be quick. Go to the QR and start participating in this process. Cristina, while we, offer people time to scan the QR code, I wanted to ask you the last question. And it's related, obviously, to AI. We talked about the innovation stuff you are proposing in your value proposition about the merging with AI and VR. But nowadays, how is the importance? What is the importance of AI in this digital transformation wave we have been, living during the last couple of years? Why people should pay attention to AI? Why people, why founders, why businesses should start integrating AI right now? Because from my perspective, if not, they are going to be out of the game. What do you think about this?
I mean, AI changes the game in so many ways, right? Productivity, cost effectiveness, all across the board. But at the end of the day, I think as founders and as leaders in our companies, really, people are always looking at us within our ability to execute, our resilience, our vision, right? And we need a tool that can help us figure all of that out as startups are changing. Our companies are constantly evolving and pivoting. Markets are shifting around us, and plans are constantly evolving. And so AI really gives us the ability to manage and analyze all this data and give us the ability to move faster and iterate quicker and plan better, and see things that maybe we haven't even looked at yet. So really, it's about using it to help us find a way forward constantly and falling forward, right? And making sure that you have the next step mapped out.
Sounds perfect. Cristina, it was a really amazing and giant pleasure to share this session with you. I really appreciate your time, your willingness, your openness to share your secrets and your experience. And we really want to congratulate you about the journey you are going through, because you are really, a truly inspiring founder with already validated success. And I think you are a really thought leader inside the hospitality and university and education industry, but I'm talking beyond that. Like, you're really a thought leader and inspiring leader to learn from. So I'm really appreciated this conversation, and I really wanted to appreciate your time.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and it has been an absolute pleasure working with the Singular team. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Cristina, and thank you all of our attendants to have me here. And it was really a pleasure to share this amazing afternoon with you. Have a nice day, have a great one, and see you soon on the next webinar. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.